We are live. What's good, Josh and man, DL Saint? Welcome. I really want to know podcast, man. How y'all feeling out there? Happy Tuesday. We're off and running. Just like the audio is okay. Maybe a little bit distortion in there, like a little bit, but we can live with it. Hope you had a good weekend, guys. Hope everything is everything. We're gonna do a quick conversation, man. I'm sure you guys are gonna dig this topic because this is a topic that's near and dear to me and to a lot of men out there and women, a growing number of women. Child support. It turns out that women hate paying child support too. Let's get into it. And we are live. What's good, y'all? Welcome to the I Really Want to Know podcast, y'all. Get some indeed. So, yeah, man, we're definitely gonna talk about this. I was watching MTR maybe yesterday, maybe the day before yesterday, and I noticed this video is out there. PBD, shout out to Patrick Bet David and the Valuetainment team about Halle Berry. And she doesn't seem to be real happy with what's going on with the child support system. In fact, she calls it extortion, like extortion. So we're gonna talk about that. And we also have a video loaded up from the lead attorney. The lead attorney also talked about Halle Berry, but there was another one he did, I think yesterday or something like that, about a regular woman. So many people, when we had these conversations, they're like, man, how come you always talking about celebrities, not just me in general, just folks out here in the YouTube trenches that do this sort of thing. Like, man, you're always talking about, rich people, wealthy folks, millionaires. That don't affect us in the streets down here in the trenches. I'm like, it does. So, we're going to talk about that. There's going to be this Halle Berry story. And then, of course, there's going to be some random woman that no one knows, right? None of us knows that the lead attorney kind of jumped on. We're going to talk about that, too. And I mean, if anyone's been watching me over the past 3 years, or we're almost at 4 years, I think, I've been talking about this for a minute. And here's the thing. As women become more empowered and they achieve that goal of true independence and that those feminist ideals and become the boss babe and all that kind of stuff, start making the money, which they should. There's nothing wrong with that. Good for them. You want to do that, man, get out there and get your bread. But what comes with that is if you get into a relationship and you have children and you find yourself in family court, which, most people, especially folks who get married, it's more than 50% of marriages end in divorce. Some say as high as 60%. It depends on where you are, but more than 50%, right? We all accept 50. So 1 in 2 marriages end in divorce. A lot of marriages, they have children, have assets and all this kind of stuff. Now all it needs to be split. So you're going to have to go to family court. And most people don't have prenups. Most people don't have any paperwork whatsoever when it comes to their relationships, right? That's just, America runs on that Disney fairy tale. America runs on, all this other stuff, bro. Like it's going to be fine, happily ever after, all that kind of stuff, right? Okay. So because those two individuals didn't decide how their relationship would end, you got to go to court. Right. And court gives you an opportunity. In fact, they mandate that you guys go talk to an arbitrator, like just go down there, talk to a mediator and figure out how y'all want to split this up. And then the judge will sign it. And that's what it'll be. The court does give you that opportunity. I know in the state of California, and I suspect that this is the case in all 50 states, before you can talk to a judge in family court, you have to go through mediation. Have to. It's part of the process. And if you can go through mediation, he's going to get this, she's going to get that. This is how much money we're going to split. This is how we're going to do. This is how we're going to share custody. This is what this is going to look like. Boom, 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 boom. If you can do all that, they'll put that paper in front of the judge will sign it, and there you go. You're done. Unfortunately, most people can't do that. They just don't. They want to get into family court and there's emotions involved and all this other kind of stuff. And it's taking this, boy, it's a crazy game. And that's for people who've been married. And if you've never been married, but you have children, well, it's just over custody and child support if there's any involved. And like I said, the name of the game is restricting the amount of time the other person gets with the child, because that equals how much money you get. In other words, if you can get zero custody out of one parent, like the parent doesn't see the child at all, you're going to get 100% child support. The child support is going to be the max, and that's going to be based on how much they earn, which, that's not a fair and just system at all. Like, we know how much it costs to raise a child in America, anywhere in America, every zip code, Department of Agriculture, they track this. We know exactly how much it costs to raise children in this country. So it should be very simple. This is how much it costs to raise a child. Let's say that number is $400,000 over 18 years. All right, each parent's responsible for $200,000. Done. That's how that works. That's how that should work. But it doesn't work that way. It's about who makes the money. So if you are making a whole lot of money, you've done really well for yourself, and you find yourself in family court, your child support is based on how much money you make, and they're going to take as much as of your money as they can. So depending on how good you've done with in life, and if you don't handle this, if you don't have a prenup, or any kind of paperwork between you and that other person, and you guys have a child gets here, the state is going to decide how it works, which is crazy. Brother Paul Bennett in the building. What's good, fam? What's good, fam? Brother Paul, man, I watched that Breakfast Club interview with Governor Wes Moore. I'm pretty sure you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, or anyone out there listening, if you haven't seen it, go watch. It's about 30 minutes or so, maybe 40-minute video. Yeah. Is it Westmore or Howmore? Is it Westmore, right? Let me look it up real quick. The governor out of Maryland. Like, bro, that guy right there on my short list. Yeah, Westmore. That guy right there is on my short list for president 2028. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out. I'm doing research on him. I mean, very well spoken, handsome young fella, military. He's airborne. That's it. You got 80% of my vote right there. You're airborne. Like, I don't need to hear anything else. Combat time. I think he left active duty as a captain. So I'm doing my research. Of course, you got to do your due diligence, but I'm starting to look into it. And if he checks out the way I think he's going to check out, bro, not too many nasty, skeletons in the closet and stuff like that. If he checks out, bro, I can definitely see myself, supporting him for president of the United States in 2028. But my short list, bro, I'm telling you, not to make this a political show. We'll talk about politics next time for sure. But Governor Moore, Governor Newsom, Governor Shapiro. I think that's going to be the short list. One of those three, I think, is going to be the Democratic nominee for president, United States of America, 2028. That's my take. I'm just throwing it out there, guys. That's my take. Newsom hasn't done the Breakfast Club yet, to my knowledge. I couldn't find anything on it. Best believe Gavin Newsom is going to be on the Breakfast Club. They're probably negotiating out a time right now, a day and a time to get him there. Shapiro's already been there. Moore's been there. And then, of course, you're going to hear like Cory Booker's going to come back. Kamala Harris, I'm pretty sure she was on there because she got the book tour going on right now. I think if she was to run for office again, it'd be a waste of money. But I think she's going to be in the big pool. Pete Buttigieg is going to be there. Pete Buttigieg did an interview on Bill Maher. No, he did an interview. He did Bill Maher, and he also did Flagrant. So, hey, man, and also Shapiro did Bill Maher as well. So, hey, man, that's what we're going to see in 2028. And I'm looking into Governor Moore out of Maryland. If you guys know anything bad about that guy, let me know. If you know anything good about that guy, let me know. Hit me up, put it in the comments, put it wherever you need to put it so I can see it. But yeah, like I said, that dude's airborne, real airborne. He's active duty. he was a combat leader. Yeah, that's definitely someone I could see me putting my support behind and actually working with him down here. Because I'm pretty sure if he does run, he's going to be active down here in Central Florida. I'm definitely going to help that dude campaign, bro. So that's just a quick aside. So let's get back to what we were supposed to talk about. Child support. So this video is the first one we're going to watch, Patrick Bet David. Definitely want to check this out. This is a Valuetainment. Patrick Bet David and his team over at Valuetainment was talking about this clip. Oh, this is the clip. They were talking about this on their show. And let's check it out. I haven't seen this whole thing, so this is going to be fun to kind of hear what they say and throw my 2 cents in. I've seen bits and pieces. Again, MTR, shout out to him. He was talking about this on, he reacted to this on his platform. But it only makes sense, guys. Like when you monetize children the way we do in this country, it's destined to fail. It's just a horrible way to do it. It's evil. Doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense, guys, to the way we do it. Like, we know how much it costs to raise a child anywhere in America. So yeah, in the state of New York, especially in places like New York City, in places like California, especially like Southern California or anywhere in California for that matter, it's going to cost more to raise a child from age 0 to 18. We get that. But we should use that as a cap. There should be caps. Like, all right, let's say what does it cost to raise a child in California from 0 to 18? Let's say it's $600,000. Let's just make up a number and throw it out there. I did look it up last year, I think, and I forgot what the number is. I do know that the most expensive place to raise a child in America is Hawaii. I do remember that from when I looked it up. I was shocked. I'm like, really? But it makes sense. Hawaii island, everything has to be brought there. It is what it is. But let's say it's $600,000 to raise your child in your area, wherever you are, from age 0 to age 18. 600,000, right? That should be 300,000 each. Right? That's it. Dad's responsible for 300. Mom's responsible for 300. If you want to do it that way. There's so many other ways to handle stuff, right? Like, people shouldn't be getting paid, in my opinion, tens of thousands of dollars a month to raise a child. And if you do that, you're going to have this disparity out here. And then you're going to have people that absolutely hate the other side. They're going to hate the system. Right. So it looks like Halle Berry's gotten caught up on this. I always bring her name up. Halle Berry, Mary J. Blige, Kelly Clarkson, J-Lo. They have all dealt with the family court system, and they have all taken L's, right? Because the family court system doesn't care about your gender. They only want to know who has the money. That's it. And they're going to take the max. They're going to take as much money as they can because that's the money that they use to feed that system. That's how the judges get paid. That's how they get their money for their retirement. That's how you pay the bailiffs. That's how you pay all the people involved. That money, because you're going to get a kickback from the federal government, Title 4D. So they want to issue some sort of child support payment for every couple that comes before them, because they're going to get a percentage back, something like 66% they get back, something like that. Which, again, that's the reason they do it. And with someone like Donald Trump in office, I've said this before and I'll say it again. This is the opportunity for people to change this. Like someone like Halle Berry and some other wealthy folks, all they need to do is chip in some money, get about $10 million, and you can get Donald Trump to do away with Title 4D. Donald Trump will absolutely do that tomorrow if you pay him to. Simple as that. And all the MAGA people out there, when I say it, they hate hearing it. And they always want to say, that's not true. He won't do that. You must be out of your mind. Right now, Donald Trump is trying to get the Department of Justice to pay him $230 million because he doesn't like the fact that they did their job and they actually investigated his criminal activity when he was in office the first time. All right. Some of it was frivolous. OK, I give you that. But he is right now trying to get $230 million of taxpayer money to go into his pocket. And you telling me that he's not going to take $10 million to get rid of Title 4D or whatever through executive action? Come on, man. He's going to do that. He's going to do that all day long because he doesn't care. It's just money for him. Right. Point blank, period. That's how it works, bro. And a lot of people get upset. I'm like, hey, I talk to my wealthy friends all the time. Like, hey man, why don't y'all just pass the hat around, get about 10 million, and then we can get this changed ASAP. And the thing is, it wouldn't take 10 million, but you want 10 million in the pot because you don't know who you're going to have to, what wheels you're going to have to grease just to get, you know what I mean? Just to get to Mar-a-Lago, just to sit down with him and be able to make your, you know what I mean? Make your play. Because we already know there's people in this administration that have walked away with literally a bag of money. So this is probably the most transparent pay for play administration you're ever going to see in America. I mean, crazy. Man, I'm talking politics again. But it kind of goes hand in hand, right? It kind of goes hand in hand. But Halle Berry doesn't like the fact that she has to pay a lot of child support for her child. Again, I haven't watched this video, man. It is about, what does it say here? It's about 11 minutes. Let's check it out. Here we go.
One of the stories I'm going to talk about is Halle Berry's upset, folks.
Oh. I haven't heard anything about this.
Okay, so Halle Berry is upset because she believes, okay, and Rob, I don't know if you have the story or not. She believes child support, if you want to zoom in, Rob, child support is extortion. Wow. After having to pay her ex $8,000 a month to her ex-husband.
Weird.
Go to the next story, Rob. Okay. She believes it's extortion. And this is a vanity. Can you actually go to the story, Rob? Actually go to the story because there's so many angles to take.
We got one,
this.
boys.
Right, well, exactly. It's not even that. There is so many layers to this, Rob. Okay. So this is an older story, but Halle Berry compares paying child support to her ex Gabriel Aubrey to extortion. And if you go to that, Rob, I think another story came out from Hello Magazine about a month ago that says inside Halle Berry's custody battle, I'll send you the story here from Hello Magazine, that it's no longer $8,000 a month. Apparently now it's $16,000 a month. But I'll send this to you, Rob. Oh, right there, you have it. Okay, let me see if that's the one.
Yeah.
Okay, zoom in a little bit. So check this out. Oscar winner, known around the world, Catwoman. But at home, she's mom to two children, Nala and son Maceo, the actress who turned 59 on August 14th, welcome daughter Nala with the ex-boyfriend Gabriel Aubrey, 11 years old. Go a little bit lower up to the $16,000. Can you find? Like,
dude, hit a lick. I know a lot of people are out there, you know, men and women trying to figure it out. Well, she's the mom. How come she doesn't get custody, right? She's obviously has enough money. She should be able to, you know, she should get primary custody and da-da-da. Well, the court gets in there. If she has primary custody, she's not paying all that bread. So it benefits the court to give dad primary custody because, I mean, I'm no lawyer, but you would think that's an easy one to argue. Like, well, dad is more stable. He's home. He's been there for the kids. He's been taking care of the kids, right? We shouldn't give the kids to mom because in order for her to make her money, she has to go all over the world to do this, that, and the third. She's not around. It is what it is. You can prove that dad has been taking care of the kids. So they're going to name him, you know, custodial parent. The same thing happens because most women historically made less money. They weren't the breadwinners. The guys were. And if they, you know, even if you weren't married, the guys were out bringing the food home and taking care of, you know, the guys made more. So I'm trying to say the guys made more. So the judge's like, all right, you make more. Cool. We're going to get custodial parentage to the other parent because in theory, they were home with the children more, you know, being caregivers and whatnot. Okay. So now you get that established. Now what you have to do is say, all right, we're going to give the minimum, you know, parenting time to the person with the money because, again, the less time they get to spend with the children, the more money they have to pay in child support. So here she is, Halle Berry, got to go out here and make her $20+ million movies or whatever she's getting. And dad's raising the kids. And Halle Berry is coming off of, you know, what, almost $100,000 every year in child support or $8,000 a month in child support. That's a chunk of bread, bro. You gotta understand the average American don't make a fraction of that. And that's working 2 jobs. So dude is sitting there with the kids. He got to smash Halle Berry, who was in her prime, one of the finest women ever in Tinseltown, right? Got the kids. He was taking care of the kids, doing his thing. I wonder who filed for divorce. I don't know much about this case, but 70 to 80% of the time is women who file for divorce. So I'm going to say that she did it. Could be wrong, though. Maybe dude knew the play. Maybe dude was just, you know, waiting, talking to his female friends. It's like, yo, they gave him the game and he just executed flawlessly. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's what's up. We got Scam Likely in the building. Gusto, what up? Good to see you, bro. So $8,000 a month she's paying in child support to this guy, and the ladies out there, they can't call him a deadbeat. He's taking care of the babies. He's at home doing the cooking, doing the cleaning, changing the diapers, taking them in, going in for a parent-teacher conference, going to the games, doing whatever. And I wonder if he got a house out of it too. But anyway, this is what I mean when I tell y'all, bro, the court doesn't care about your gender. They just want to know who makes the money.
And if we're the $16,000, what's the date on this article, Rob, that you have?
This was.
I think one was this one. The other one was 2021.
Yeah, but
August 15th of 2025.
August 5th. Oh, go all the way to the bottom.
Right there.
In 2014, Hallie was ordered to pay by a judge to pay $16,000 a month to child support. Figure she has since slammed as extortion and managed to slash to a lesser $8,000 a month plus a percentage from her annual earnings.
Wow.
But what is amazing about the story is this is what men go through. Okay. Now, Rob, does she take care of the kids? Does she have custody of the kids full time?
I'm not sure.
Can you check that there? Because there's a lesson here. Does Halle Berry have custody over her kids? 100% custody over her kids?
Well, it wouldn't be 100%. There's definitely going to be a percentage, but it wouldn't be 100% custody. It could be, but it would be crazy because dude would have to basically consent to that. And Brother Paul wanted to know, were they married? I'm assuming that they were. Again, I didn't really look into her case, which I need to. Maybe we'll do a real thorough breakdown and use her case as the test case. But having not read this article, I don't know if she's also paying alimony or if it's child support slant alimony, if it's like two things. Because if they were married, there's definitely going to be some sort of alimony involved. And I believe this is out of California, but it's a lot that I don't know for sure, bro. I'm gonna have to read this. I'm gonna read up on it. I'll read up on it. Whatever I find, I'll send it to you. I'm gonna read up on it later on tonight. But this is how the child support system works. This is how the family court system works. This is why James Sexton is always talking about prenups. And we tell men like, hey, this is what you want to do, but women, especially high earning women, they need to understand this too. Remember, what do I always say? People ask me, hey, will you get married? I'm like, I'm not going to marry someone whose net worth is equal to mine or less than mine. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to marry someone who doesn't have as much as I do. But I wouldn't hesitate to marry someone, someone like a Halle Berry or someone with a net worth in excess of 10 million plus and earnings of 10, 15, 20 million. Yeah, I'll marry her tomorrow. I ain't worried about no paperwork. I don't care. We good. Hey, I'll do that tomorrow without hesitation because I understand how the system works. Not that I'm looking for anything. I don't want to take anything from her. However, if she try to get fly and get ugly with it, like I'll just remind her, like, bro, I can walk away with at least a third of your stuff, if not more. And if kids are involved, it's like, yeah, it's like half or more. I can walk around with 70. I could walk away with, maybe 65, 70% of your stuff, which I don't want to. But that's the only way I would, marry someone who doesn't earn what I earn or more. Because you have to think about these things, people. Like you have to think about these things. And if you don't, you pay later.
I'm curious to know what the story is here. Because to pay $16,000, Tom,
yeah, they were married. It says ex-husband.
Custody. Berry petitions as to control this education, therapy, and tie-breaking. Her older.
So you see what he's reading right there. It says this Oliver guy is her ex-husband. And they have contentious custody battle over their son. Berry has filed for sole legal custody of him through the two currently. They both have joint legal and physical custody right now. So that's the standard coming out of any court, pretty much in America, under existing court agreements. And she's asking for control over decisions like educational therapy. So that's what it sounds like. He has custodial parent status, and they both should have. She wants to take over all the decisions, but when you have joint physical and legal custody, that means you guys have to work that out. You have to like education, therapy, healthcare, stuff like that. and she wants tie-breaking authority. And this is just the attorney, and basically what the attorney is doing is trying to, if she gets what she's looking for, that's going to lower the child support. And same thing with the older daughter. It's a co-parenting situation, and she wants to change that. She wants to change that. And the reason she wants to change that is because of the money. Let's continue.
Her daughter now is co-parented with her ex, Gabriel Aubrey, under joint custody. So she's paying him $16. Now she's paying $6,000 to $8,000. Can you go to Gabriel Aubrey? Let's see who he is.
I see what you're saying, brother. she has an ex-husband and a baby daddy. Oh boy, she has an ex-husband and a baby daddy. So, wow. So I wonder if this child support money is total between the two kids, basically split between the two baby daddies. Wow, bro. See, there you go. Shout out to you, man. Time to Marco, to Brother Paul, for pulling that up. Let's continue.
Who he is? Adam, do you know Gabriel
super
Aubrey?
Super good-looking guy that was able to hold down Halle Berry.
But is he like an actor? Is he?
I believe so. We can find that.
I think
he's a
Canadian
model, I
model.
believe. Yeah.
Aubrey is one of 9 siblings. So he's modeled for a bunch of different things. And did they get married or just partner?
Well, I believe they would get married if he's paying
Personal life,
alimony.
Aubrey. Yeah. Well, what do you, Adam? I want to come to you with this one because I figured there's something you want to say about this one here.
Well, let me just say, Gabriel Aubrey, respect to you. If you go after the literal hottest woman in the world that everybody play, and you get her, tip of the cap to you, bro. My
bad. I have to jump through.
What she's experiencing is what.
When Alan, when my man talks right here, man, when Sosnick talks, I met Sosnick, man, he's a cool guy, but bro, he don't know how to land the airplane. So you gotta fast forward through a lot of his stuff.
98% of men experience, because 98% of men are the ones that pay alimony. I believe it's 80% of women file for divorce, and I think that number even goes higher as they have a college degree. And then I think child support, I think men end up paying 90% of the time, 90% of the time. There it is right there. Only 3% of alimony recipients were men, meaning.
Well, she added to that statistic.
Exactly.
So good for her.
So the most likely way for women to become.
Oh, did y'all see that? Let's see if I can back this up a little bit. Man, look at these stats. And this is something that, folks, I mean, you got to look at the numbers, guys. This is what you're risking. Men and women, ladies, if you're out here making money, you need to look at this, right? But this is right here for the brothers, bro. And this is back in 2010. This is the census in 2020. In 2010, only about 3% of alimony recipients were men. 97% of alimony recipients, people who received alimony, were women. 97%. And more broadly, estimates suggest that only about 10% of divorces involve alimony at all in modern times. Oh, really? Only 10%? So 90% of divorces don't even have alimony? I mean, I guess that makes sense because most people don't even have money like that. Or depending on, maybe a lot of people, you get people who do get, you get people who do go out here and get, what am I trying to say? Prenups and stuff like that. Because most alimony recipients are women, that implies the share of men who are payers is higher than the share who are recipients, but that doesn't directly tell us what percent of all men pay alimony. Okay. But yeah, bro, it is what it is. This is the game. Like I said, don't hate the players. You can hate the game if you want to, but learn the game, master the game, protect yourself at all times.
Exactly.
So good for her.
So
yeah.
the most likely way for women to become billionaires, as an example, is divorcing a billionaire. They don't build companies. They build babies. They build families. Respect. I love you ladies and all like that. But the reality is only very successful, rich women like Halle Berry, like Oprah, are the ones that have to deal with something like this. Who was the famous? Was it, wasn't J-Lo?
I don't agree with that completely. There are women out there who are making $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year. They're going to have to pay some form of alimony. And if you're making that much money, your alimony is going to land somewhere north of probably $3,500 a month or more, depending on the law you're in, what state you're in and all that kind of stuff, the custody breakdown. But there are women out here paying child support. There are women out here paying alimony. And you don't have to be a superstar to do it. You just have to make that kind of bread. So there was a woman we covered on this platform. She does. She has a YouTube platform, podcast that she does with Van Latham. I forget her name, but she was crying about the money she had to pay in alimony. She was paying to do alimony. It was hilarious, bro. So it's not just super wealthy women or celebrities. You know, if you're a high earner, if you're in that, if you're anywhere near that top 20% of earners and you don't have the paperwork, you're going to pay. You're going to pay. Simple as that. Brother Paul is saying, so it's less than 2%. 90 of divorces, X 97 of women. So 90% of divorces times 0.97 of women getting alimony. There you go, bro. You're going to get big numbers. But this is just how the game is played. And so many people are just, like I said, man, everyone's stuck on that Disney fairy tale, man. That's a hard narrative to break. And ladies, y'all could get caught up in this.
Was Oprah. I mean, there's only a handful of women that did this. They basically had to pay alimony, and they're like, why am I paying all this money? And like the famous quote was the guy being like, welcome to our world, baby. And that's the sad reality of this, is that women, and here's the challenge that women are actually going to face. Now that women are starting to earn more and the pay gap is sort of being equalized, you're going to see a lot more of this is probably going to happen, but not to this extent.
I'm going to wrap up with
Why was this something that you wanted to discuss?
I think it's a good story to say.
What I think is going to change. I've been saying this since I started this platform. It's going to change. As more and more women get caught up in the child support alimony trap, and it is a trap, they're gonna begin to change the guidelines, if not completely change the law. Women are gonna get fed up. They're not gonna want to do it, and they're gonna organize and they're gonna politically go do what they have to do to get it changed. And again, that Title 4D, if Title 4D goes away, all this goes away. Because now there's no money, there's no incentive. All of it goes away. You'll be able to go to court in your state or whatever and get a child support order, but no one's going to enforce it. Right? And what they'll do is they say, well, this is all it is. It's going to be caps and all this kind of stuff because the states can't afford to do what they're doing. The only reason they can do this is they're getting a massive kickback from the federal government. And I'm telling you, I'm not a Donald Trump fan. Y'all know this, but boy, oh boy, if I had $10 million, I would certainly go and get Donald Trump to, through executive order, change that Title 4D, get rid of it. Absolutely do it.
That here's what men go through, that this is what men typically do. And it's happening to women to know what it feels like. Yesterday, I'm sitting there with Tico and we're going through stats and Tico starts giving me these stats. I'm like, oh, Tico is so funny. Like at any point, you're going to get any kind of stats from that guy. But you know what the stat was?
What?
That we went through? Here's a stat. Okay, I'm going to read this off to you and I want you to think about it. When feminists say they don't need men. You ready for this? When feminists say they don't need men, 96% of construction workers are men. 95% of electricians are men. 95% of plumbers are men. 98% of carpenters are men. 94% of HVAC technicians are men. 97% of mechanics are men. 96% of welders are men. 91% of truck drivers are men. And we know what the other 90%
yeah, right, Marge.
Yeah,
Large
97% of roofers are men. 95% of oil rig workers are men. 90% of machine operators are men. Wow. 85% of network engineers are men. 91% of mechanical engineers are men. 86% of civil engineers are men. 96% of firefighters are men. 85% of police officers are men. 80% of military personnel are men. 90% of pilots are men. 94% of train operators are men. 92% of forklift operators are men.
Wow.
These are some of the riskiest jobs in the world.
What about a foreman, Pat?
These are some of the riskiest jobs. Well, there's a 3%. And if that foreman that you meet,
there's always a 3%.
Which, by the way, this leads me to James Brown was right when he said this is a man's world, but it would be nothing without a woman or a girl. And there is some truth behind it.
The challenge that women have to understand is there's a big difference between in your life and in society. Yeah, I don't need no man in my life. Okay, great. But without men in society, society crumbles. Like, look no further than what's going on in Ukraine. Sorry to call out.
I mean, they need men in their lives and they need men in society. They need both. When you call 911, if something goes down, women expect a man to show up. Imagine if a woman knows she calls 911, it's going to be some girl just as big as she is, shows up to help her out. I mean, that's That's not what she's hoping for. Right? And then they didn't even mention all the dirty jobs. Like you look at, like the guys down in the sewers and those real dangerous jobs, those guys out there, fixing the power lines and stuff like that. So listen, what he's saying right now makes a lot of sense. This thing he's about to say about Ukraine, I wanted to stop real quick and share this quick story with you guys. I was at an event for Valuetainment a couple years back, and 2.5, maybe 3 years at this point. It was a while ago when they first moved down to Fort Lauderdale. And there was a guy there, and, 99.4% of their audience is MAGA and conservative and all that kind of stuff, right? So there was a guy there, and turns out the dude was from Ukraine, just a regular dude who was just there to watch the performance or whatever, watch the show. It was Fresh and Fit. It was a collab with Fresh and Fit and Valuetainment. So the guy's like, yeah, man, I'm from Ukraine. And this is when the war had just broke out, right? And I'm like, wait, you're from Ukraine? He's like, yeah. I'm like, and you're here? Because he was talking big, crazy, like big stuff, like, full chested, talking about this and that. And I'm like, hold on, bro. It's a war going on in your country. You over here in America on a student visa. Why aren't you back home stopping the Russians from taking your home, invading your home and, doing all this, killing your kids and all this? He just kind of stood there. And I was like, so if America has to go to war somewhere, you're going to come fight with us? If you're not going to fight with your own people, you're going to come fight with us? And he just kind of stood there. He didn't even answer the question. And I just walked away. You see a lot of that out there, bro. You see a lot of that out there, bro. Like, what? You over here, your country's being invaded, and you over here? Like, nah, I can't respect that. And that's, one of my big problems with the right.
My beautiful Ukrainian babies that are living in Miami now. Men in Ukraine are dying on the front lines, where women from Ukraine are now living in New York and Miami and living an OnlyFans type of existence.
So
that's the difference that you don't fully understand.
This is it. And you know what's the most simplest thing men want? They want respect and appreciation. That's what they want.
Easy.
Ladies,
Facts.
fellas, you got to earn it, though. You can't just wake up and say, why can't you just respect me? We got to earn it. That's our job to earn it. But ladies, if you got a guy that's doing his part and he's working his ass off, providing, giving an incredible life, give the man some respect and give him some appreciation. Because if you don't, God forbid, there's going to be some consequences and some furniture moving around depending on what places you are.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T.
And this is the only thing I wear every single day.
So,
But what PBD just said right there, bro, is facts. Like, that's one of the things, there's so many women out here who just don't want to respect men. I mean, it is what it is. It's people. Let's back it up a little bit. There are folks out here just don't want to respect anybody. They don't want to respect each other, which is horrible. Like, respect is earned, bro. Like, you go out here, treat people the way you want to be treated. That's the way I was raised. I don't know I don't know how people are raising their kids now, but I don't think that's a thing anymore. Women go out here and they want, the highest tier guy. You want the highest of the high value men, and you get into his orbit, he smashes you and then moves on to the next woman, and you get mad. And it's like, even if you had a shot at him, a lot of times a woman will bag a dude, and then you see him begin to lose respect for the guy. Like, you can't do that. Like, if you don't respect him, all right, that's cool. Why you around him? Why don't, ladies, if you're talking to a dude, show him some respect. If you got a guy who's out here busting his butt, doing it every day, making the right moves, doing what needs to be done, taking care of his business, taking care of his family, taking care of you, taking care of your kids, make sure that house, that roof is above your head. Show him some respect. I'm not saying like it has to be sexual all the time. Just let him know you appreciate it. He's going to know. He's going to see it in your eyes. He's going to see it in the way you act. There's so many women that don't seem to be happy with the guys that they're with, right? And we'll get into that later, because in their mind, they're settling for a guy that, well, that's the perfect dude for you. You're not settling for him. You had your shot at the multimillionaire guy. He blew you back out and sent you on your way. That meant that he wasn't trying to have you around like that. And now you mad at all the other men. Like, well, you shouldn't have ran over there. I mean, I guess I can't be mad at you for taking your shot, but geez Louise, bro. Understand it, ladies, those dudes, the top tier guys and the high value men, they have options and they know what they're doing. Right? It's like, Brother Paul was like, I was raised, respect is given, trust is earned. But I hear you though. Yeah. And there's some people like, yeah, the trust is earned. I feel you. Like I said, my whole thing is like, you got to earn your respect. But I feel you, bro. I'm not even going to push back on that whatsoever. You know what I mean? I treat everyone the way I want to be treated. I'm gonna come at you from that standpoint, and you know, I'm hoping that we can earn the trust and have the respect and move forward. But there's so many people that don't even do that, man. I see it when I'm outside, bro. When I'm out in these trenches, man, I see it like, man, this chick doesn't respect this dude at all. And a lot of these dudes don't respect themselves, right? They don't respect themselves, man. We don't have a lot of self-respecting men out here. We don't have dudes who know how to be men. And we're going to be talking about that too as well later on. Like I got a whole bunch of episodes I wanted to cover, but not tonight. We're gonna talk about that. But let's watch this other one. This video we're about to watch, man, this is the lead attorney. And the title of this episode is Rich Mother Sells Children to Ex-Husband Trying to Avoid Child Support. Ooh, I definitely want to see this, right? I want to see this. And I haven't watched this, guys. I watched just the very, very beginning, like maybe not even a minute. But there are people out here, wealthy folks, that they're going to look at the numbers. It's like, all right, I'm paying this much money in child support plus this much money on top of that. If I can do away with the child support, I still got to pay for that extra stuff. Let me try to work something out so I can save that money. I mean, it makes sense. Again, child support should be capped. We know how much it costs to raise these kids, right? We know how much it costs for medical. We know how much it costs, to feed them, to clothe them, to house them, to educate them. That's pretty much it. Like, you got to cover the basics. A lot of people are like, well, what if I want to put them in a special league or a special school for this or that? Like, that's not guaranteed in child support. Like, you just got to educate your child. You don't have to send your child to the highest rated private school in the area. If you can't afford that, you can't afford that. And you can't mandate that someone else is going to, pay for that. That's my take on it. You guys let me know how you think. We got brother Dr. B in the building. What's good, fam? It's one of those things, bro. It's like, we know that there are people out here who are just trying to work the system to get as much money as they possibly can. That money doesn't go to the child, and for those cases where you have people who are multimillionaires and they can pay more, I would say that, there still should be a cap, and above the cap, that money should go into trust for the child. If you're paying $30,000 a month, you don't need $30,000 a month to raise that child. So whatever the cap is, right, in your area, let's say the cap is $1,500 or $1,000. Let's say the cap is $1,000 a month, $12,000 a year. Anything above $12,000 should go into trust for the child. And if you need extra money, you should have to go to whoever is the trustee, whatever, entity is controlling that money. And you should have to make a case for the extra bread. Like, well, I need extra money because there was a hurricane. The insurance didn't pay as much as I thought. The roof needs to be replaced. I need $10,000 to replace the roof, right? The child has to live there. Child needs a roof. Okay, we'll authorize $10,000, maybe $15,000. Here you go get the roof fixed. Or tell us what roof are you going to use. Go get the estimates, bring it back to us, right? And we'll pay them directly. That sort of thing. But we shouldn't just be, are we going to, $30,000 a month? That's a lot of money, bro. You know what I mean? That's what, $360,000 a year for one child? Like that's what I mean, bro. And Dr. B was like, I'm looking at coming out to Tampa in March. Fact, hey, that's what's up, bro. We'll set something up. Well, let me know when you're coming. Where won the NCAA? Oh, NCAA games will be played at the International Arena. Okay, cool. Come here for March Madness. Perfect, bro. Make sure you let me know when you get your dates, man. Shoot me all that, bro. Shoot me all that. We'll definitely get together, man. We'll break bread. We'll have a good time. Yeah, I'm looking forward to March now, man. That's what's up. Let's get back to this. So let's check out this video, man. I'm pretty much off my horse when it comes to child support thing, but there needs to be caps, bro. What we're doing is just counterproductive, not only for family, but it's counterproductive for the country at large, bro. We have people. I mean, you get folks caught up in this, man. Like, it's so much hatred and animosity builds because of this, and the kids see it, and you split between these two homes, and you're hearing all this negativity from both sides. And, you can argue that both sides have gripes, but man, I'm telling you, man, the kind of money that some of these judges are ordering, it just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. And we're just talking about child support. We're talking about mandated stuff. You take away the court and you take away the mandated, like these child support guidelines, right? You say, hey, these are the caps. This is what you're gonna get paid. You have a kid. You live here. This is how much money that you're gonna get in child support. You know, you might have women thinking they're gonna get $6,000 in child support. Like, nah, you're gonna get $600. You know, the cap might be $1,500. That's the cap. And it's like she's gonna look at that and be like, well, wait a minute. That changes everything. That changes the game. That changes the game completely. Right, $1,500. You see what Brittany Renner's going through, trying to get extra money out of PJ. What's his name? PJ Washington. And she's crying because she's thinking, I'm gonna get all this money. Like, no, we're not gonna get all that money. You know, well, I moved over here. I'm in a different state and there's more money. We didn't tell you to move out there. Right? And what's gonna happen is women are gonna understand like the game has changed. So if women understand that they could get more financial assistance from the father of their child by being nice, then they will be nice. It's like, hey, we can go to court. You're only gonna get $1,500. And dude's like, I'm ready to pay $5,000 a month. I'm gonna take you to court. You get $1,500. Now you're gonna run back to him and ask for something. He ain't gonna give you nothing. Like, I gave you your money. I told you I was gonna be nice. I'm gonna take care of my child. Whatever. If he wants something or she wants something, she can ask me. Right? So I think that it would be better for society as a whole if we make some changes. But when you do that, you're taking away money from the court system. Like, this whole thing is built on what it's built on. They keep this thing going like it's a monster, bro. So that Title 4D, man, they need that money circulating. So anyway, let's see what's happening, man. This woman is saying she's on child support. This is the lead attorney. Let's check this out.
Hey, y'all. So I've decided to talk about being on child support. Me and my ex-husband divorced about 2022. Officially in 2022.
Let me just say, guys, having represented men and women for over 2 decades, there is nothing that women hate more than being on child support. They love to receive it. Some of them are fine if they don't get it, but they all hate to pay it.
We separated 2021, and of course, it's been the 3rd year. Now, I got frustrated and irritable about not being able to electronically speak to my kids because they live in a whole nother city in Texas. I also got very frustrated with having to go all the way to the city that they live at, pick them up, stay in a hotel. Somewhat spent between $12,000 and $15,000 to see my kids this last year.
All right, let me just say that this woman makes a lot of money. It is very, very expensive to see your kids when they live in another state. She's paying, what did she say, $12,000 to $15,000 a year? That's over $1,000 a month on top of her child support. So this lady's making bank. Now, it's weird why she doesn't have her kids. We're gonna listen to that in a second. Hopefully she'll tell us. And I can already tell that there's bad co-parenting between both of them if the father won't let her talk to the kids electronically, like over a little tablet or over the phone, FaceTime. Something's going on there, but we're gonna find out hopefully.
And so,
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I've never heard of men placing those kind of restrictions on the mother, but I've heard of women trying to do that to the men. And the court encourages it. Like, the court wants you to, you know, if you live out of the state, well, you can do parenting time over the phone via FaceTime and all that. And to me, that's nothing. Like, you know, FaceTime and a child, bro, that what are you doing? That doesn't make any sense to me. And they're like, well, that's your parenting time. Like, that's not any quality parenting time. Stop. What are you gonna do? Like, you gonna sit there and just stop? Like, I don't agree with that at all, but you know, it is what it is. There's no substitute for having your child with you so you guys can go out, touch grass, play catch or play basketball, or, you know, go to the arcade or whatever it's going to be. Like, you know, are we going to go watch a Bengals game? I'm just going to turn the phone on and you can FaceTime and watch the Bengals game with me? Nah. So I don't know why dude doesn't want her to communicate with the kids via text message or FaceTime or whatever. I wonder what's up with that.
I filed for enforcement. And of course, that landed me in the child support range. It's frustrating because after agreeing to what we agreed to for child support, his sleazy lawyer is trying to get more information about my income when we've already agreed to the child support amount.
All right, typically you can kind of agree to the child support amount, though judges don't love it. Judges want to make sure that the child is receiving the appropriate amount of child support. Now, you can agree to any number above what the state would typically calculate, but judges don't like when you agree to a lower number. Sometimes the parties are on good terms and they'll say, hey man, just shoot me $50 a month, $100 a month on child support. Judges hate that and they will not approve your divorce complaint. They want to make sure that the child is receiving an appropriate base level amount of support. It seems that this lady is hiding her income because she doesn't want the sleazy attorney to know how much she makes. This lady is about the dollar.
And
I didn't know that, guys. So you can go in to the family court system, say, hey, Your Honor, this is what we agreed. Mom or dad only needs $150 a month, $200 a month, whatever it is. And the judge says no, and then order, the appropriate amount of child support. What is appropriate? This is why you got to have caps. There should be no question. If you come into court and you live in this zip code, this is the max amount of money you're going to have to pay in child support if you earn up to this amount. And that amount should be like $400,000. If you earn up to $400,000, $300,000 or $400,000 a year annually, you're going to pay $1,500 a month of child support. That's the max. But you're also that's provided that, you're taking care of medical, like during your medical, dental, you're paying for the school supplies and all that kind of stuff, right? So that's what it should be. And you come in, you well under that, and the judge is like, no, we're going to order that you pay more. Why? Because they're going to get, 66 cents on the dollar for that order, bro. They're going to get a kickback. They want their money. That's the court system.
I absolutely get where these men are coming from, because I wasn't that parent that was like, oh, I ain't helping you. And we agreed on no child support no matter who had the kids. His financial situation, his support situation is way different than mine.
Wait, did she just say that they agreed to no child support? Because I thought she just said that they agreed to a child support amount, but maybe I misunderstood. Okay, so apparently there's no child support.
My work-life balance was very hard, even when we were married. I had a nanny. I actually had two nannies. I had an in-house nanny, a weekend nanny, house cleaners.
This lady is making bank. And I see this all the time, especially down here in Atlanta, where these black women are killing the game. They are making so much money. A lot of times these women will have a lot of financial resources and they will marry a man who is not making as much as them. What do? They divorce him. It always ends in divorce. Now, I'm not sure if another man was in the picture or if she just got tired of him not making enough. We might find out, but this is very interesting. This lady's got two nannies and a house cleaner. All right, she's making money.
And hell, if I could afford a cook or a chef, I would have had that as well. But my nanny was a cook, and so he stayed at home playing video games. I did everything I could to bust my ass. I had a growing business at the time. I was a full-time athletic trainer in Texas, so I was a breadwinner. And I did endeavor.
Shorty said she was a full-time athletic trainer. What happened, Shouty? She ended up putting on a couple pounds. But dude was staying at home playing video games with the kids. There's a nanny during the weekdays. There's a nanny on the weekends. The weekday nanny is cooking. Old boy is just like, I got this regular looking chick. Unless she looked way different back in the day. He's probably, I got this regular looking dumpy chick. Again, on a scale of 0 to 10, I mean, I think she falls in that average. I think she falls in that 4 to 6 range on a scale of 0 to 10. Right? I don't, gotta see the rest of her, but I don't think she falls. But she might be 3.5, 4, whatever. But she's nowhere near the top end of the spectrum. This dude doing what he's doing, smashing, shooting up the club, doing all that kind of stuff. They got kids. And he's sitting back like, all right. Like I said, if you're dealing with a woman who has way more than you, you're all right. Go get married. Go do whatever. It's all good. You're probably not gonna lose.
Delegated duties, and I still delegate duties that stress me out. Needless to say, this man knew that I was going through a psychotic break when we got a divorce because he was like, I'm not going to help you unless the courts make me help you.
All right. And now we find out how he got the kids. She's going through a psychotic break. It is very, very difficult, guys, for women to lose custody of their kids. The vast majority of times when women don't have custody of their kids is because there is an agreement. Judges really don't like to take kids away from their mother unless there is a real urgent and significant need. If this lady's having bouts of psychosis, what does that mean? It means that the children are not going to be stable in her care. The judges, the courts, they cannot depend on her to watch and take care of the children if she's having psychotic episodes. Now, we're going to assume that this is not her fault. Anybody can have mental problems. It's important that if you have mental problems, you take care of yourself and you seek treatment. But hey, it's the luck of the draw. So it's not her fault necessarily that she's having these psychotic episodes. The judge is not going to punish her for that, but is not going to leave the kids in her care if her psychotic episodes are not controlled.
And I was
I mean, sound like she's mommy dearest. She's mommy dearest. She had a break. So I ain't gonna lie, man. Her ex-husband, the baby daddy, you know what I'm saying? The ex-husband can't call him baby daddy because he married her. So he wifed little shorty up, let her do everything she was doing, let her grow what she was growing. He's on the couch playing video games, watching the kids, kind of. And then he's like, okay, I'm leaving you. Sounds like dude had a play. Sounds like dude set this thing up from the beginning. He was probably smashing dimes on the side, probably doing all kind of crazy dirt, right? Just doing his thing. He looked at this like, yeah, she a meal ticket. I'm about to run her pockets, which, again, the game's done changed, people. I'm telling you, there's dudes out here running game. I mean, women, you know, people hear this story and they're like, oh, women been doing this to men forever and ever and ever. There's been dudes out here doing some shit. Like this guy's really on some, you know what I mean? Like another variant of the Tinder swindler. He played the long game. Okay, I'm gonna marry her. I mean, you could tell she's not that fit. You can see the way she's filming this thing. She's still big. Dude probably like, you know, regular plain Jane chick who's making a lot of money. Dude's like, you know what? I'm gonna get with her. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna ride her coattails. She's gonna get all this bread. We're gonna have these kids, whatever. And then I'm gonna divorce her, you know, doing, you know, at the appropriate amount of time. Maybe it was 5 years, maybe it was 7 years, however long it was. I don't know. I don't know what the laws are in Georgia. I'm gonna divorce her and boom, I'm gonna get the kids and I'm gonna get all this money because he knew she was crazy. He knew she had issues right off the rip. Like, yo, this shorty crazy. He knew what he was doing. That's what it sounds like to me. Or maybe he lucked into it. I don't know, but psychosis, yeah, yeah. You heard what the lead attorney said. Judges do not like taking women out of the picture, but they'll pull the dad out of the picture in a heartbeat. They care less. They'll pull dad out the picture. They don't care, but they don't want to pull mom out of the picture. Right? This is something that needs to be addressed in the family law system, and it will be, right? Because of stories like this lady right here.
asking him to do stuff like pick up the kids after school. This is the time between our separation. And he made a deal with me. And this is as I'm going through a psychotic break, going through this divorce. He was like, I'll take the kids, take them off your hands or whatever. I went on FMLA for mental health through the divorce. And then didn't give the kids back. Essentially, he didn't give the kids back. And
Fellas, hey, you let me know if your wife going through a divorce is having psychotic episodes, would you give the kids back? What do you think? Put it in the comments below.
He didn't give the kids back, and he bargained with the kids. So my only ace in the hole was, okay, I'll lift the geographical restriction on the kids, but I'm not paying you child support. You can't have half of my business, and you cannot have half of my retirement, my teacher's retirement.
I can't believe she's admitted this. Guys, she sold her kids. She basically said, hey, listen, I'll lift the geographical restrictions on the kids so they can go with you. But if they go with you, you can't touch any of my pension. You can't touch any of my business and no child support. So I'm not going to pay you $1. If you want custody of these kids, even though I am exhibiting psychosis, if you want custody of these kids, you got to have no claim to any of my money. This lady sold her kids.
And so we agreed on that. And where I up was not saying indefinitely, like no child support indefinitely until the kids are 18 years of age. And so he was able to get child support.
Of course. Guys, listen, it amazes me how you will see women say, and they are absolutely right, that if you lay down and make a baby with them, you should support them in some capacity. But this woman with multiple kids who's making all of this money doesn't want to spend one penny to feed these kids, doesn't want to spend one penny to clothe these kids, one penny to house these kids. She wants to keep all of the money for herself while her kids are 100% supported by the father. All right, we're not.
Hey, bro, there are stories out there. I've heard stories of women who had custody of the children, like fathers fighting like hell to get custody, can't, just getting barely like weekends and all that kind of stuff. The mom getting the full amount of child support will take the kids to dad and leave them there for months on end. Got to the point where she was like, well, you just keep the kids. And the father kept them, kept paying child support, had the kids, kept paying child support, had the kids. She ain't coming back to get them. She ain't doing nothing, right? He waited because he went and got an attorney, right? The attorney was like, let her keep doing it. We're going to do this for a certain amount of time. I forget how long it was. It might have been like 6 to 8 months, maybe a year, something like that. Then they filed, right? Went into court, showed it. And the mother in court was like, well, he can keep the kids, but I want to keep getting paid child support. Judge was like, it don't work that way. Matter of fact, you owe him money now. So it's out there. It's out there, y'all. The game is the game, bro. It's cold.
I'm not going to talk about her mothering skills, but this lady's trying. She sold her kids.
But now here we are. We already did an order for child support.
You guys asked me why I retired. It's this. It is absolutely this. Okay, let's go. Let's go.
And his lawyer is trying to get my employer information. Well, I'm a 1099 employee. I'm employed by myself.
Of course.
So you're not going to get that information. But
wait a minute. It's even worse. I hope this attorney sees this TikTok. The attorney is entitled to her income, is entitled to her financial information. Why? Because she has the legal obligation to help support her kids. She just said she's not turning over her financial information so that an accurate child support amount can be calculated. This lady doesn't care at all about supporting her kids. And I don't know if she's going through a psychotic episode right now. She looks normal. Looks can be deceiving, but I cannot believe she is on TikTok explaining that she is violating the court's order and the court's rules about disclosing financial information for the benefit of the kids. This lady is a piece of work. If you have a good mother in your life, you are blessed.
let's not be.
This is why we got to have caps. It should be one of those things. It's like, all right, lady, you're not going to give us your information. Fine. We're going to give you the max, $1,500. Done. $1,500. Done. You don't want to pay? Fine. We'll put a lien on your home. Done. Right. You don't want to pay? Fine. We'll take it out of your taxes, whatever. It is what it is. Like $1,500 a month. That should be the cap, generally speaking. Now she might qualify above that, and of course, they're gonna get her financial information, bro. One way or the other, they're gonna get it. And the judge is gonna make an order. He's gonna hit her with the absolute max because the judge is gonna be mad. Judges are human too. They just gonna be mad, and they're gonna just hit her with. They're gonna throw the sink at her, bro. It is what it is. She might even be looking at some contempt. She might be looking at some jail time, but they're gonna get that information. Crazy or not, they're getting that information.
Jesus.
Neglectful that both men and women are human, and both men and women have very disgusting characteristics about them. Because you're a
Obviously.
grown man, I set you up for success by getting you your CDL hazmat, your TWIC card, your passport, and you choose to drive Brock's trucks. But
She said passport. I set you up for success with that passport, pimp. I don't want to pay anything for my kids.
now you want to eat off of me. It's just insane. And you're in a two-income household. You live in a house that is paid off by your mom. You rent from your mom. Your mom is your landlord, and you have no car note. And I assumed all of the debt when we got divorced. Like when I say I was the dude in this situation, I was literally the dude in this situation. So what I have for anybody, male or female, in this situation, when they have a non-compliant, non-understanding partner, ex-husband, ex-boyfriend, baby's father, baby's mother, is lawyer up and get a good lawyer. Invest in a lawyer because you're going to.
She wants to invest in a lawyer and doesn't want to invest in her kids. Imagine if you had a mom like this. She doesn't want to spend one penny on her kids, but is telling people to spend money on an attorney so that she doesn't have to spend any money on her kids.
Going to pay for it down the road. Just know that. I've been the nice guy. I've been trying to have this cute little co-parenting situation with him, and it's just not working.
What type of cope? All right. I will be honest. When she first started this and she said that the father was not allowing the mother to communicate with the kids telephonically or through electronics, I didn't know what she was going to say. I knew that was bad co-parenting, but I didn't know why. But I'm against that. You know, the father, listen, it's not about you. It's about the kids, right? That's how it needs to be. We can have problems with our kids' mothers or fathers, that's fine, but the kids need to be left out. She has psychosis. I was like, well, maybe texting the kids. He doesn't really know what she's going to say. He doesn't know if she's having a psychotic episode. Who knows if she's going to start going off on the phone or on FaceTime. But now I understand why there are problems. She thought they were going to have this great co-parenting relationship when she doesn't spend one penny on these kids and basically sold them so that he doesn't touch her retirement and doesn't touch her business, which was a marital asset since they were married and she had her business and she was doing all of this athletic training. Now, to be fair, to her credit, she does spend, what did she say, $1,000 a month to go see the kids. But does that feed the kids? Does that clothe the kids? Does that provide for the kids' transportation? Does it provide for the kids' medical care if the kids are young? Does it provide for child care? This lady just shows up and sees the kids once or twice a month, spends $1,000 on hotels and Ubers and whatnot, and then goes home. This is absolutely a disgrace. It is amazing to me, and I know I'm old school. I'm 48 years old, but it is amazing what people will get on TikTok and expose about themselves.
He's not.
Bro, you know, the whole thing about not letting the kids communicate with mom. Yeah, if you're a parent that's not allowing your kids or encouraging your kids not to communicate with their other parent, yeah, that's pretty shitty. But in this case, like, she might be like real crazy, like for real, mommy dearest for real. What if the kids don't want to communicate with her? And that's one of the things that I even tell folks. I'm like, man, you know, even with my daughter, I'm like, hey, when's the last time you talked to your mom? Make sure you, even though she sees her mom every weekend, for the most part, like during football season is a little different, but for the rest of the year, no doubt, she's with her mom every weekend. She's with her mom for all the holidays and for the summer, or when she wants to be there, pretty much when she wants to be there. But even if she's like, you know what, I'm gonna stay home for Christmas instead, or I'm gonna stay home for the summer. Still, you gotta be talking to your mom, right? You know, that's something I'm saying. You call your mom, you talk to your mom, blah blah. You should always encourage your children to reach out to the other parent. But all the rest of it, man, I agree with the lead attorney, man. Like, Lee's correct. She ain't trying to put no money out there, and she's probably thinking like, well, I paid for everything up until the point, and now, you know, you have the kids, so by you paying for everything now, it's just only gonna make it even or whatever. Maybe that's what she's thinking. I don't know. It's hard to get into the mind of crazy people, bro.
Very compliant. He's not even following the rules that we just got an order for not even a month or two ago. Like, skips out on letting me talk to the kids in the evening. And I have a running documentation list of this, because when I do decide to lawyer up, he's going to have to run me back something.
First of all, he's not paying you back anything, and she didn't even spend money on the lawyer. Now, I will say this. She said something about, she's the man of the relationship. I cannot tell you how many times these men work so hard to amass wealth, to amass assets. And then when the time comes to spend some money, they won't do it. They will not spend money on attorneys. It is fascinating to me. I never have problems with women wanting to spend money on an attorney. They know, hey, this is important. Typically, it's the man, and not the man who's not making a lot of money. It's the men who make a ton of money. So many times they want to represent themselves. She making all of this money, having sold her kids to keep her retirement, sold her kids to keep her business. She goes to court with no attorney. She wants to keep every single penny. I will never understand this type of mentality. You are not going to be able to take that money with you. Guys, just listen to me. If you're making a lot of money and the time comes to talk about things that are very important to you, like your kids, spend the money. If it's important, spend the money. You'll get it back. You're making a lot of money anyways. This lady, she's something else.
Because this is
spend the money even if you don't have a lot of bread. If you're only making $150,000 a year, take that extra time, take that little bit of money, man, go and attorney. If you didn't do the prenup, definitely get you an attorney. Do not go into the family law court system without an attorney. If you do, you're going to get bent over. I don't care if you're saying, well, she doesn't have an attorney either. You better go in there with the best attorney that you can afford. Buy as much attorney as you can. Instead of buying them Jordans or buying, them Chanel shoes or whatever dudes are wearing these days, go in there and spend that money on the attorney. And let the attorney do their job. Do your research, get the best attorney you can find. Do that. Don't mess around. Because once that first order is made, bro, it's damn near impossible to get it changed. And you're going to spend 3 times, 4 times, 5 times the amount of money on legal fees trying to get that thing changed when you could have walked in there day one with the attorney that had been taken care of. Nice, easy, smooth. Do your research. Find the best attorney. Go out and really talk to folks. Do your due diligence. Don't get some lazy attorney, because that's worse than going in there by yourself. Get you someone you can trust to command that mission to get you squared away with your kids. You want to get as much time as you can with your kids, ideally 50-50. And if you're making that kind of bread, you're going to wind up paying stuff anyway. I know people that got 50-50 custody and they still pay $12,000 a year in child support, right? So it's like crazy, right? It's crazy. So get you an attorney. Do not go into the family court system without an attorney. If you do, you're just begging for trouble. And what this woman doing, she's crazy. What she's doing is crazy. Maybe this is the play. Maybe she's put this TikTok video out so people can see how crazy you are. So when we go into court, we can run some sort of thing. I don't know, but she's going to have to get an attorney.
ridiculous. Like, you're not even being a compliant parent.
She's talking about not compliant. She's violating the court order. She refuses to tell the judge how much money she makes, but he's not compliant.
So my advice is lawyer up. And this is coming from someone who's on child support. I'm a woman that bare 2 children, that breastfed for 18 months, and I am the one on child support.
All right, guys, listen. What do you think about this? Am I too hard on her? Do regular people listen to this and like, oh, I understand, sister? Or I don't know what type of response she thought that she was going to get. But a divorce attorney sees this and is absolutely disgusted. Disgusted. She doesn't want to spend 1 penny on her kids and sold her kids to her ex for her retirement and her business. Guys, I'm going to leave it here. Put it in the comments below how you feel about this situation, how you feel about parenting, and if anything can be done to help this lady. All right, talk to you in the next video.
Peace. That was the lead attorney, man. Shout out to him, bro. You got to understand the game, guys. You got to understand the game. So we just watched 2 videos where we're talking about 2 different women. One woman who was extremely successful, famous, and all that kind of stuff. And another woman who was successful, not famous or anything like that. Both these women in situations where they're paying child support and all this kind of stuff, and they don't like it. And they're not the only ones. There are a lot of women out here who just don't like it, bro. They don't like this thing. They don't want to pay. But they'll, these are the same people who are quick to point the finger at a guy and be like, oh, he's a deadbeat dude because he won't pay. So what are they? Right. And then it leaves the feminists and all the other women kind of in a lurch because they're sitting here like, Like, yeah, what? Most people have no idea how the family court system works. No idea whatsoever about custody and alimony and child support and all that, right? So when you look at places like Kentucky and Florida, and I think Texas and Tennessee are working on changes in their family court system, it's going to be a wake-up call to the people who are in the system. Some people are going to really love it. Some people aren't. But the people who don't get caught up in it, they don't know. They don't know. When you talk to folks, I've had so many conversations, and I talk to folks, I start breaking it down. They're like, that's not true. And you pull up the information and show it to them on the phone. They're like, oh, I didn't know that was the thing. Like, this isn't fair. Like, yeah, of course it's not fair. So, I mean, that's where we are, bro. Man, that is so crazy, man. So, hey, we're out here talking about this sort of thing with folks, bro. My suggestion to you is just say, hey, when you bring the comment, this conversation comes up, just say, hey, I think there should be caps. I think that both parents should have equal access to their child. That should be the default, 50-50, and there should be caps. Yeah, you want to make sure the child's taken care of, but you have two financially, competent grown-ups. I mean, split household, simple as that. And this is, why is there any child support involved when the child's with you half the time, is with dad the other half of the time? Why is there any child support involved? We're paying for medical, we're paying for dental, we're paying for clothing, we're paying for miscellaneous, we're paying for our home. Like the child has everything that they need, and the system really should have caps. Simple as that. I mean, that's just how it works. That's just how it works. I saw a video today, an interview with Coach Greg Adams. We're gonna be breaking that down too later on in the week. Really good video. Coach Greg Adams, definitely one of the OGs. And I didn't know that Coach Greg Adams was demonetized as well. You guys know I'm always watching, like I watch numbers, I watch content, I see what's out there. And bro, when I look at this platform, like, wow, man, I'm really not getting any views. Why is the algorithm not even trying to push it? Like, but my subs are going up, like the subs are inching up, which is great. And I know people are watching. And I just believe that there is a list out there, especially for the red pill community, especially for, guys, talking this talk. And yeah, I'm not a freshman fit or Andrew Tate or anything like that. I'm on the other side of the spectrum, but we're all under the same umbrella. This is all red pill stuff. And I think there are lists out there, and I think that, they've pointed out certain platforms. And I think it's easier to kill a platform when they're still young, basically an infant, toddler. I'm at like the toddler stage, like, ooh, I'm monetized. But I look at my views, it's like, and I compare it to what else is out there, and I'm like, So Coach Greg Adams was saying how, yeah, he was demonetized as well. He kept making new YouTube channels, and they threatening, like, you make any more channels, we're just going to kick you off the platform completely. I listened to Coach Greg Adams' message. Not that controversial to me. It's not that controversial, but this is where we are, bro. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about what's going on with the red pill message. We're going to talk about how mainstream media, like I said before, is really intrigued with this red pill message. And, we're going to cover that later on in the week. I'm definitely going to try to get on here more and spend more time when I do the streams. I'm going to start coming on different times a day. I'm going to do whatever I can to see if we can, kind of nudge the algorithm into showing and pushing, this platform. We'll see, but I'm happy with what I'm getting, bro. I'm so pleased with you guys. Thanks for rocking out with me. Like, Brother Paul, like Dr. B, I really appreciate you, man. Dusto, Scam Likely. Plus, everyone else, all the day ones are out there that just couldn't jump on this stream. But, I know you guys are out there. I appreciate y'all, man. Thank you so much. Gonna be talking some politics and gonna be talking some more red pill stuff moving forward this week. And yeah, man, that's it, man. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm happy that we were able to cover that. Shout out to PBD. Shout out, Valuetainment. Shout out to the lead attorney, because that was some good stuff, bro. That was some good stuff. So stay tuned, bro. I wish I can give you a time as to when I'm going to come on again, but it should be tomorrow. Definitely will be back this week, but it should be tomorrow. And we're just going to keep doing what we do. So I appreciate you. Thank you for rocking out with me, man. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let your folks know, man. We're trying to push this information out there. We want folks to see that, red pill information, bro, like this red pill talk, it's not evil talk. It's just trying to let people understand how the game go. This is the game. This is how the game is played. Learn it, master it. If you're going to go out here, hopefully you'll have, success. but understand what can happen to you. Ladies, you guys can get hit with child support just like we can. Y'all out here, y'all boss babes, y'all making y'all money. Guess what? You can wind up paying child support too. Just like that lady who was just on there with lead attorney talking about it. So you better learn the game as well and play y'all game a little bit better. All right, I'm DL Saint, man. This is I Really Want to Know podcast. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.
Nothing like I've ever seen. It's just a thing of beauty.
Darn, that's the end.